Hey, it's Cate Stillman. And I want to talk a little bit about how good you can feel. This is something I feel very strongly about, is that most people I find don't know how good they can feel. And to some degree, I'm seeing this more regardless of age, which to me is unexpected. I'm not just seeing it in like people in their 70s and 80s. I'm seeing it in people that are teenagers. So you can feel really good. Let's be clear on this. Like your design, your human design is perfect. It's exquisite. It's beyond. I mean, really. So the question is like, how do you move in? How do you move into you? And I have a little slideshow because I want you to know how good you can feel. That's simply it. That is simply it. I'll tell you how I help people on that journey as well. But the important thing is that you know how good you can feel and the simplest things you can do to start to feel good now. Okay. Here's my slideshow. I've got to say too, I put a little time into these. This is fun. I think it's a book project that's coming up where I can both write and draw at the same time. So health issues, if you have health issues, you can feel good. Let's figure out how you can feel good. That's what this is about. So where I find most people are at, so I've been at Yogahealer for decades. We'll get to that. Ayurveda and yoga, that's my background. Enlightenment studies, meditation, that's my background. So I'm on that new age woo-woo side of ancient wisdom, something like that. Most people are showing up with basically toxicity. I mean, in a word, in Ayurveda, we have a better word. It's ama, and it means that which is not yet digested. And I'll get into that in a minute. But the big thing to understand is that if this is you, if you're bloated, or if you're tired chronically, which is called fatigue, if you're having trouble focusing your attention, if you're having trouble following through on what you want to do, these are all signs over here that you have toxicity. Now that toxicity becomes, that undigested toxicity becomes chronic inflammation. Once you have chronic inflammation, now your immune system, which is supposed to do a really good job protecting you from other, is trying to just do all inside job work. So you know what that's like, right? If you put all your energy to one thing, it doesn't go to the other thing, which is protecting you from everything else out there. Everything else that the body's like, no need for you to be in here. But if all the energy is focused in here, then this is what happens. You're tired because the energy is being used internally. And not just for like business as usual. Like it's not used in an efficient and effective way. It's used to fight the battle. And when you're doing that a little bit all the time, day in and day out, unfortunately, what happens is these symptoms, chronic inflammation, the puffiness, trouble focusing, the fatigue, the weight gain. It's not always weight gain though. Some people won't have it with weight gain. Most people, I mean, everyone who's got weight gain has this. The body's meant to be efficient. There's this word in Ayurveda I love that's part of the definition of health that translates to compact. Like that's really sat with me. Like, what's a body that's like compact? Right? Lean, mean. I think those are the modern words, like lean and mean. You're designed to be lean and mean. And when you do, these efficiencies kick in and you feel good. You feel good fast. Yeah. And I have a secret weapon. It's this hot water bottle. Yeah, that's where the Yogi Detox starts. I take people on a 21-day journey. It's been called Yogi Detox for 20 years. Yes, I've been standing in the same place for that long. So what I know now is that we need the simplest solutions. And that's really where this begins. So let's talk a little bit more about how good you can feel. It's an interesting concept, like pain-free. Like you're not designed to have more pain as you age. That's just like poor user maintenance. And it's not the technology, it's the user maintenance, it's your habits. So if you're willing to look at that, then you can feel better. That's the good news. That's the good news. So pain-free, energetic, yeah, like you're meant to like want to get out of bed in the morning and be like, yes, it's a brand new one. Gonna watch the sunrise again. Wow. Right? That's the energy of early morning, technically. in Ayurveda. That's the experience. That's the experience that you want to be having. Yeah. So if you're not having that and you're like, oh my God, it is so hard. Like, I just feel like I'd rather not. Maybe later, right? That's a sign that chronic systemic inflammation. Okay. Which is a sign of what? Yep, you're catching on. Undigested food. It's like fermenting and causing deoxygenation and degeneration. It's kind of the atmosphere that cancer likes to grow in. Yeah, that atmosphere, which is why if we keep going down the route of this, I'll show you. I've got staircases for you. Oh man, I've got everything here. There's the staircase. What are the habits? Good question. The degenerative habits. So these are habits that degenerate rather than regenerate. A lot of people are getting stem cells right now, right? Like, what's stem cells? It's like cells that are really good at regeneration. But the thing is that your body naturally produces stem cells. It naturally produces growth hormone. How? When? Fasting. Yeah, isn't that fun? Right? Well, actually it is. Like, that's kind of the weird thing. It's like once you get over some of the humps, it gets really easy. So it's only hard in the beginning. It's like, because your momentum's been going downhill for a while steadily, it's like to get that to like turn, it's like turning a freaking barge. Like, let's be honest. Yeah. And for some people, it's not weight, it's stress. It's that pressing the override button when you're tired again and again and again and again. And what happens? Well, chronic systemic inflammation, because it's running. It's interesting. The stress is, in that case, it's running through the mind. So this is another pretty picture about that. I see it this way. Too much on your mind, life on top of you. Bam. Ow. Right? That's a load. And a lot of people just carry a little bit more each day, so you don't really notice. It's like the lobster in the pot of water. Yeah, that analogy. You don't notice it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't end in the same place, right? Just because you're not really noticing how deep you are in. So people who have constantly putting more and more and more in through their senses, particularly their eyes and their ears, right? No bueno. That's why in a simple detox, we take some time in nature, nature sounds, like no thing happening, and allow some of the mind to let go. This is the other thing that happens. Whoops. Too much stuff in the body. And this goes to the undigested food. We can look at that. I know you're going to be interested. I mean, these are the questions I've been asked in the Yoga Detox for 20 years. It's a long time. It started with 6 people. It was really darling. Actually, I may have been the 6. I may have started with 5. I might be exaggerating. It was in my Ayurvedic medicine year in Tetonia, Idaho. If you were one of the original 6, thank you. It was hard. So what are toxins? Yeah. Because we have this idea that they're like chemical. A lot of us think they're chemical, right? That they're caused by like all these horrible companies that create all this pollution. Bad, right? Dumb. Super dumb. We don't have to make pollution. We have to make stuff. We can go to the moon, right? Like, come on. We can design this technology. All right. Clean our shit up. Okay. So toxins are on the inside if you're eating in a way that doesn't allow your food to digest and absorb, and for ways to eliminate. So we'll get into that in just a second. For right now, you can see this is my very not looking at a textbook idea of what a cell is and the different structures in the cell and healthy cells. Now, you want to think about this, like these things are not alone, your cells, like they're working together, they're a team, and good teams communicate. Good teams communicate actually seamlessly. That's a really good team. Like, and if you, I've experienced this more, I would say I've experienced this more in sports. I would like to see it in my company. I would like to see this, and I bet we're close. It's like the experience of flow, the experience of when all the different people are working together in a way, there's just flow towards the goal. Yeah. So in order for that to happen, there needs to be it's interesting. The space needs to be clear. Boy, now I'm going into lecture mode. I wasn't going to do that. Shoot. I got to get this done faster because I know time. So what happens is these guys have to communicate. When they do and work as a team, it's great. But when you start eating, let's go to this. So what are toxins? Toxins is undigested food, right? There's my hot water bottle, keep sipping. But toxins cannot just be in cells. They can be between cells and on cells. And cell membranes are really, really, really important for communication. Think of it as like your senses. Like your senses really help you communicate, right? And how subtle your ears are, how far you can hear. That's like the cell membrane. So the cell membrane, right? It can get a coating on it. That my undigested food particle type stuff, that's the slime. Ama in Ayurveda. All right. So why? Well, do you do any of these things? That's the question. Be honest. Be honest. Eating without hunger? I rarely meet someone who knows what hunger is anymore. That's not true. In the Yoga Healer community, I'd say there's an amazing posse of people who really feel their hunger and love it and love their Agni. They worship their digestive fire because they know like that runs the rest of the technology. Period. That's how Ayurveda, that's how they lay it out. Like you mess with that, you mess with your hunger, everything gets confused. You don't even know how to like set a goal and achieve it if you mess with your hunger. How do you mess with your hunger? Well, you overeat, you eat emotionally, you snack, you eat too late, you eat sporadically, you eat when you're not relaxed. So you're like really emotional about some little thing that happened. And then you eat and you embed, like it just breaks down your body's ability to absorb nutrients, which is why we eat, right? And to then digest that into a place where on the cellular level, these little guys, they get what they need. They get what they need so they can do their jobs. We stop messing with them with these bad habits. Yeah. Eating irregularly, eating irregular can also just be like, you're just eating at the wrong time. Eating at the wrong time of day. I didn't have that on my list. I have to edit this now. Jeez Louise. If you eat after it's dark, forget about it. Like just don't eat when it's dark. If you live in Alaska, like in the winter, we'll talk. But even then, like you're probably at OMADs. You're probably at one meal a day when that dim light is brightest in the sky. Yeah. And what happens is nature starts working for you. Like as soon as you take this load off, you get to feel, remember my bee guy? Where's bee guy? You get to feel amaze balls, right? Yeah, you. Okay, so where do we go from here? That's me. Yeah, I've been doing this. I have been like doing this same thing for a long time. And what I've learned is that like, a lot of people are upset about the information overload. I have my information overload lady. Here she is. Oh, I made androgynous. It's a he, she. It's a non-gender. Modern human right now that's just like really overstimulated in their eyes and their ears, right? And there's just too much going on. Life's very complex. I mean, life's never been more complex. Let's be honest about it. So that's real. That's true. That's the way things are. But there's not much we can do to change it. I mean, maybe if we all did it, it would change. That's kind of the only place I can go. Is like, what happens when we realize we just need a freaking break from it all, right? Like, how do you empty it all out? How do you get the body to digest the toxins? And this is where it's like, this is where we start. This is where we start. Oh, we're doing this live, April, yogidetox.com. We're starting with hot water because what does it do? It's kind of funny. It melts the goo. Remember the cells with the goo on the inside? That's intracellular Agni, the ama on the cell membrane. Membranes, think of the membrane. The membrane is a brain. Think of that. When you got goo on your brain, like you are not able to function that well. All right. So we basically get the cells, and we can add little spices to them too. Spice water digest the toxins. What does the hot water do? It just loosens it. you just like hydrate it. Like you get everything juicy and hydrated, because like anything that's desiccated can't let go. Just think of like whatever you spilled on the counter and forgot about it and came back later and it was dried up and sticky. Yeah, like that. That's toxins. That's food toxins. That's the quality. It's sticky, it's gooey, it's heavy, it's cold. How do you get rid of it? Well, first you hydrate and then you add a little spice. So that's what we're going to start in our 21 days. I'm not telling you what we're doing after that, but it's simple. Like this is really simple. And you immediately go like, oh my God, and that's all we're doing. And she's going to starve me. And it's like, no, like what I find is this is it's something like this. Sip more and naturally eat less. And you're just turning to like turn the barge. You're not forcing everything, because you force something, you're already inflamed. So your nervous system's already on the like, I can freak out no matter what, right? Like that's what it's doing. That's the program it's on. Not a good program. No. So you got to get it to relax. And that's really where you put the yogi in the detox. That's what we do at Yogi Detox. Yeah. So I hope you come. I really do. I really do. More and more, this is my, I hope you come. Like, come join us. Like, it's pretty amazing in there. My mentor team is just rock solid. And yeah, it's a journey. It's a global community. I teach into the future. So it's innovative. I'm naturally an innovator, right? I mean, who else would have started Yogahealer.com in 2001 and yogi, this whole thing? I'll tell you about this. So Yogahealer.com, imagine this, it's like the year 2001. And my husband and I are in San Francisco. I'm going to Ayurveda college and yoga college. And yeah, those things exist. I know, it's cool. I need a domain name, because it's like the .com bust. There's like garbage all over the streets in San Francisco because like everybody left because everyone lost their job in the .com bust. That was wild. But anyways, all these great tech guys were out of work, and I was like, I need a website. I'll trade. I put it on Craigslist. Craigslist was actually going strong 20 years ago. FYI, in San Francisco, it was like, that's where everything was going on. So posted, you have back pain. Remember chronic pain? It's part of the chronic inflammation thing. Like, if you have back pain and you know how to build websites, let's trade. So we did. And I started yogahealer.com, but even figuring out the name. Anyway, what I find is that you can feel really freaking good. Yeah. And what I know from having done this for 20 years, taught the Yogi Detox twice a year for 20 years, is that there's a really easy way. There's a simple way that anyone with a chronic systemic inflammation, like anyone with any of that undigested food, overeating pattern, like, no problem. Just come.